Hi, welcome to my kitchen. Come in. This is the start of a series on good food and drink. You probably came here from my blog. I guess you appreciate good food and drink. More than likely you're a fan of good beer. I hope you share my annoyance with TV programmes that feature wine, but fail to give good beer airtime. A couple of years ago I had a go at Saturday Kitchen for almost never featuring beer. So this series will feature beer. Hardknott beer for one. Well, it is my brewery, indulge me that. But it's not just about us, it's about good, honest food and drink. Tasty, with provenance and quality. We'll be talking about wine, whiskey, cider, rum and many other great beverages. Most of all, we will look at great food to go with beer and my take on what great food may be. As a brewer who is concerned about flavour, I care about good food and how that matches with good beer and other beverages in the wider world of the gastro. Welcome to Hardknott's Brewer's Kitchen. I'm going to start this series of Hardknott Brewers Kitchens with a demonstration of how to make a really good stock, because I think that what's important in good cooking is underpinning it with good honest value, good honest ingredients, good honest techniques. There's a lot of things you can do well in cooking, but if you start with a good, basic, solid, honest stock, then you can't go far wrong. So what I've got here is I've got some carrots, spring onions, regular white onions, celery sticks and a chicken. In the supermarket a whole chicken costs about the same as 2 breasts. So why buy 2 breasts and not get the benefit of the rest of the chicken? So we're going to take the chicken and we're going to start by removing the limbs. Now what I like to do, just to maximise the amount of meat that's available, is just cut around there like that, and if you've got a nice sharp knife, you see, you'll slice right through the and there. And I just put that in the stock pot. Yeah, there's a bit of meat on there, you could marinate that, put it on the barbecue, but you'd need about 10 of them to make a decent meal. So in the stock pot with that, same with the other wing. I say what the secret there is: nice sharp knife and of course watching where your fingers are. In the stock pot with that. And then just trim off if you break the joint there a little bit, say if you've got a nice sharp knife, we'll cut right through the tendons and everything. There's one leg, off it comes. Two legs which just say by themselves will make a meal. And the thing to do with the breasts is slice right down one side the breastbone and just peel off as easy as you like down there. Just being careful to follow the bones, so you want to kind of use the bones as a guide. Take the breast off, there's a nice breast. Skin it if you like, leave it skin on, whatever you're going to do with it. But I'm just going to put them in the fridge for now because I'm not sure what they're going to get used for, but they'll get used for something. What I'm interested in here, I might even freeze them yet for another day, because this stock's going to do way more than one meal. For that, now that's pretty much rubbish now, but it can go in the stock pot. Yeah, with the rest of the stuff and anything left over. And what I'm going to do actually is take the skin off this breast, because that can go in the stock pot too. Skins just peel off quite easily, you see. Leg meat I think is delicious, and what I sometimes do, a bit of a stouter knife, just find the joint, you can feel the joint, you can just break the joint open. Thigh and a drummer, same with the other one. Found it a bit better that time, out of practice obviously. And then that thigh meat actually is quite delicious. And if you bone that out, as I say, you could roast that thigh yourself if you want to. and just a bit of salt and pepper on it, nice and easy, in a nice hot oven, hotter the better actually. But if you bone out the thigh like this, you then end up with a brilliant bit of meat, which I find is much nicer for using in things like Thai green curry, and all the bits of skin and bone that would have otherwise you'd eat. Yeah, it's nice to. I really like eating a chicken drummer off the bone. It's a kind of nice primeval thing to do. You know, it's sort of that caveman instinct, I think, that you can see. And the skin's tasty. I love roasted chicken skin. It's just delicious. But at the end of the day, it's a bit unhealthy. What we can do with this stock is we'll put all this in the stock. The fat will float to the top, but we'll get a lot of the proteins and flavours out of the chicken, which can then go on to add to another dish. I'm going to do the same with these drummers. They're slightly more awkward, and actually you get a few more tendons in the drummers because they're connecting to the feet, which just naturally means there's a few more tendons. So if you use this meat, you've got to be a little bit more careful with it. You see, there's kind of a fibia there. I think is probably what that is in anatomy. But you know, and there you go. Just pull that off. You got some nice meat there. So that's all gone in the stock pot. That's the meat. So there we are. That's the meat from the chicken, and you'll pay more for that, like that, than if you just buy the whole chicken. So if you're short of cash, then there's a top tip from Hardknott Dave. So now we'll stick that meat in the fridge. Careful, obviously, not to let it come into contact with anything else. Cross-contamination extremely important. Now, by strict environmental health rules, we should use a different chopping board. We've just used that for chicken. However, it's all going in the same pot. My argument is, although these are vegetables, you know, it doesn't really matter that much. So what we're going to do, cut the ends off the carrots, cut them down the centre like that, and then they go in the stock pot. Each one of them goes in the stock pot like that. And we just do the same with each one. Put it in the stock pot. But the idea is you're not trying to cut them up really small and be delicate about it. We're just trying to get the flat side down, trying to just get some nice flavours in. Spring onions, cut the ends off, cut off any scraggly bits at the other end, and I generally just roughly chop them up, throw them in. Same thing, throw them in the stock pot. Onions a bit more. We don't want the onion skin in there, we don't really want too much of that in, but you don't have to be too careful. So cut the onions into quarters, cut the ends off, and then peel the skin off, and those bits go into the stock pot too. I'm using 2 onions here. You know, how much you use is up to you. I think that's enough. And the celery, yeah, just roughly chop that up and put that into the stock pot, and it will be great. So I'm going to put the water in, covering everything really. And in total, well, that's over 3 litres, so we're probably going to get a good 3 litres of stock out of that. Now, I'm not going to add any salt, but what I am going to add, just with a little bit of extract, some bay leaves, which just adds that. Actually, to be honest, those bay leaves need to be used up anyway, so I'll throw a few of those in, just add extra flavour. And also, the other thing, some whole peppercorns. So that just adds a little bit of bite to it. You could add chilies in there, lemongrass, although to be honest I prefer to add lemongrass at a later stage because that's a lot more aromatic and you can lose some of the volatiles. But all in all, and then, not forgetting of course, to bring it gently to the boil. and we'll come back to that in a few minutes when it has come to the boil. Put a lid on it, keep the aromatics in. And so as it comes to the boil, we've just got to make sure you don't boil it too much. We just want a nice gentle simmer. We can already see the fat starting to rise to the surface, which we'll skim off later. We want a nice gentle boil so that we just get a nice clear stock. Put it on a very low heat and cover it tightly, just to keep all the nice aromas, and I can smell all that celery and onion, the spring onion as well, and everything just coming out of that and giving it a nice aroma. Oh, hello! Right, you've come at the right time. Yeah, I don't know whether you won't be able to smell this, but the aroma from this stock, we put it on, and the important thing is, if you notice, it's just and so simmering. The aroma from this is incredible. We put it on and then went to the pub last night. So it was on for about 4 or 5 hours last night, and then this morning we've just reheated it. We're just about to sieve it. And this is kind of handy, because what we'll do is we'll get Anne to use this camera to get a different angle shot of what we're doing. So do you want to help me there?
I
Is
can
that
do
alright?
that.
Are you sure?
Yeah. What angle would you like me at?
Just, I don't know, just so that they can see this being sieved. Ugh. Put it on there so you don't flap about it me burning the table.
Absolutely.
Right. So it's quite a layer of fat on here, but hopefully, well, what we'll do is we'll sieve it first. Now, what I've said all along with this stock is the important thing about it is that it's not being boiled vigorously. Unlike beer, where we want, when that's being made, in the copper we want a nice vigorous boil. That's to get all the flavours out of the hops, and also the vigorous boil helps to drive off things like dimethyl sulfide, DMS anyway, whatever its exact pronunciation is. That's important for making beer, but with this we don't want too much agitation, because what we don't want to do is render down some of the things in the chicken carcass, which will in fact make a cloudy stock. But if we look at that, here you are, can you see the layer of fat there? Now, I'm not going to try. We could try and skim that off right now, but to be honest, that is quite difficult to do. So what we're going to do, got a plastic tub here, which hopefully is going to be big enough to take all this stock. It may not be. What we're going to do, pour it in there, cool it down. Ideally, actually, if you cool it first to room temperature, and then put it in the fridge overnight. And you may have seen there, I don't know whether that was visible, a little bit of sediment in the bottom there as well, which is just very fine bits of meat and what have you that's come out of the chicken. That'll settle to the bottom. We probably don't want that in our stock if we're making a nice clear oriental type sauce or a soup, or I mean this.
This looks like my tea actually. This looks like a really nice stew in here.
Well, this has been, and being the stingy so she is, we'll try and pick all the meat off that. But that meat has got nearly nothing left in it. It's just fibrous nothingness. I am probably going to reboil this for the sake of just getting out the last goodness. But once we've done, what will be left will be virtually, the solids in there will be virtually nothing worth having. So I strongly recommend that you just bin it.
Well, as long as you make me something nice to eat.
No, don't worry, there'll be something nice by the end of all of this. Sort of, I'm putting all that back in there. We've got, this is a 3 litre tub, so we've got probably got a good 2 litres of usable stock there.
Hello?
Right.
What's happening?
Well, we've got the stock that's been chilled overnight.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, can you, that sort of almost smells like roast chicken. You've got in with sage and onion stuffing, although there isn't.
Make me hungry.
I know, but do you not agree? It's got all that.
Crunchy bacon on top.
Yeah, I know. And there's no crunchy bacon in there at all. All the waste from the carcass boiled down with just carrots, onions, celery, spring onions. That's it. We'll get a spoon. You see, you can just lift that fat out. You see, we'll just scoop that out, because, as I was saying when we were making it, sediment in the bottom.
So what are you going to do with it now you've got lots of nice
Well,
stock?
if you've done a roast chicken or roast pork, you can deglaze your roasting tin and just make a really, really good gravy. And you could just boil it up with a few vegetables, throw in some ginger, garlic, thread noodles, maybe some prawns, something like that, and you'd have a really nice soup.